welcome to this question and answer session. You're going to be with me, Munir Mustafa, as we continue answering questions which are brought in biology on the common questions which are asked in many exams. Today we're going to be continuing with our first topic from yesterday, which was classification, and today we're going to be talking about the divisions Bryophyta and divisions Felicynophyta or Pteridophyta. So today is just a continuation of yesterday's topic. So without further ado, let's begin with the questions. Question 1 states that to outline the characteristics of division Bryophyta. This is a simple, straightforward question which actually needs nothing to be said except the characteristics of division Bryophyta. As we all know, division Bryophyta is one of the divisions in kingdom Plantae. So in kingdom Plantae, instead of being called phyla, as in the kingdom Monera, Protoctista, Fungi, and even kingdom Animalia, but it's called division in plants. So in kingdom Plantae, it's called divisions. So in division Bryophyta, there are many characteristics which make it known, which make the plants to be known as a division Bryophyta member. So beginning with the characteristics, the first characteristics is that they are small. The members of division Bryophyta are made up of mosses, liverworts. So the mosses and liverworts are very small. Some are even a few cells thick, or they can reach a few millimeters in height. So they are very, very small. They can be seen with a hand lens, but they can be seen more clearly with a microscope. Another one is that they lack vascular tissues. Even though they are called plants, they do not have vascular tissues. That is, members of division Bryophyta lack xylem and phloem. So this is one of the characteristics of division Bryophyta. Even though they are plants, they do not have xylem, nor do they have phloem. So they are non-vascular plants. Another one is that they occur at moist areas. Due to their small size and due to their lack of vascular organs or vascular tissues, also members of division Bryophyta need to stay at moist areas in order for reproduction to take place. In order for fertilization to take place, there must be some moistness. There must be a certain degree of water, because without the degree of water, the mosses or the members of division Bryophyta could dry out. Moving ahead, they are the simplest plants. And meaning of simplest here is not simplest as in they are simple to draw or what. No, it means they are the most primitive of plants, that they are said to be one of the most earliest types of plants, as they look like plants, they make their own food, but they do not have true roots, they do not have true leaves, they do not even have vascular tissues. So they are plants, but they are the earliest type of plants which are not specialized. That is what simple means. Simple means that they are not specialized only. They lack true roots and instead have rhizoids. So members of division Bryophyta lack true roots which anchor them and absorb nutrients. So the only things that they have which absorb nutrients is rhizoids. Rhizoids, these are root-like extensions, but they do not act as roots. They are like roots, but they are not like roots because they are more primitive, which are also found in fungi, members of division Pteridophyta. They all have rhizoids, which are root-like structures which help to anchor them to the ground and also to absorb nutrients. The surface is coated by a waxy cuticle. As we have said that they are a few centimeters thick, also that they need to stay in moist areas, and that they have a waxy cuticle which helps them protect themselves against drying. So without the waxy cuticle, the waterproof waxy cuticle, then they would have dried in the sun, they would have dried in many areas. But members of division Bryophyta have a waxy cuticle in order to prevent any water from drying out or to prevent any loss of water. They have alternate generations. What does an alternate generation mean? It means that in the reproductive stage, there are two types of generations. There are the gametophytic generation, in which the gametes fuse to form a zygote, and that is what gametophytic stage means. It means that the stage in which gametes from the male part and gametes from the female part fuse together to form a zygote. That is what gametophytic stage means. While sporophytic life cycle means that there are some spores which are released. So in a sporophytic life cycle, it means that in the members of division Bryophyta, they release spores also. They undergo fertilization through means of water. Members of division Bryophyta undergo fertilization due to the fact that they live or they are found near water sources or near areas where there is a certain amount of water. The reproductive organs or the reproductive gametes, for example, the male gametes, the sperm gametes, usually have two flagella or two tails in which they swim in water towards the female part. So they need water for fertilization. In answering a question like this, you can answer using these characteristics, or there are even more characteristics. Whichever comes to your mind, you can answer it in a bullet system, or you can answer it in the number system or small letter system, any method. But you should write it like this. Moving on to our next question, we're told, what are the economic importances of division Bryophyta? What are the economic importances of division Bryophyta? So we are told here to mention the importances, economic importances, be it good or be it bad to humans from division Bryophyta. Anything, as we have said before, anything has its advantages and disadvantages. So here you can write the advantages and disadvantages. You can write only the advantages if it has only advantages, and you can write even disadvantages, whichever you choose. But most of the time, when asked about economic importances, you start with the advantages, then look if there are any disadvantages and write the disadvantages. So for example, when answering a question like this, you can say that, what are the economic importance of division Bryophyta? Well, you can say first, they are used in soil conditioning. In soil conditioning, members of division Bryophyta such as mosses, peat, are used in the conditioning of the soil, in making sure that the soil's condition stays very well. They can be used to prevent soil erosion. Members of division Bryophyta can be used to prevent soil erosion, as they have, even though they have rhizoids, but these rhizoids anchor inside in the soil and they bind the soil together. As they bind the soil together, it becomes very difficult for the soil to be washed away due to erosive factors. They can be used as a fuel. Members of division bryophyta, especially mosses, when they are clumped together, when after a certain period of time has passed, they can be used as a source of fuel, a source of fossil fuels. For instance, in many parts of Europe, they use peat moss as a source of fuel. They can be used to treat wounds. For instance, sphagnum moss has antiseptic properties. In treating wounds, there are some types of moss which help people, in which provide some sort of protection against infections in wounds. For instance, the sphagnum moss was very important in the world wars, especially World War II, in which people used the sphagnum moss as an antiseptic for wounds. Another one is that they can be used as insulators and insect repellents. We all know that due to the close proximity of the growing of members of division bryophyta, they can be used as heat gainers or substances when packed with peat or moss in which heat stays, and also as insect repellents, as some of them have properties in which can repel insects. Now we're moving ahead to our next question. When we are asked to draw a well-labeled diagram of a fern plant. So question number 3 just needs us to mention or to draw a fern plant. We all know what is a fern plant. It's a member of division Phylloxenophyta or Pteridophyta. So here we are required just to draw it. Like the previous questions about drawings, you can draw it as big. You can draw it so it's big and can be understood by many people. For instance, like this. You can draw it just like this. And here we have seen that there are many parts which have been mentioned. For instance, there's the rhizome, which is the root-like system. We have the stipe, which acts as a stalk. We have the pinnae, which act as leaflets. And we have the frond, which acts as the leaf. We can see in a plant or in a frond, this can be seen. So we can see in a plant like this, or in a member of division Pteridophyta, the fern plant, it's important to show these parts. The pinnae, which are like the leaflets, the stipe, which is like the stalk, the rhizome, which are like the roots, and the frond, which shows the whole plant. Moving ahead to our next question, question number 4, which says, it's a simple question, which says, which part of the fern contains the reproductive spores of the fern? So we know that ferns use spores. They have a sporophytic life cycle. But where are the spores stored? If you look closely in a picture of a fern plant, you can see, or if you have a fern plant, if you look closely underneath the leaflets, there is a round object, or there is a round hard node. In those node is where you can find the reproductive spores, but it has its own special name. So in answering a question like this, you can answer it straightforwardly by saying the part of the fern plant which contains the reproductive spores is known as the sori. So it's called a sori. It's not shown in our diagram, but if you look in other diagrams which show the underside of the leaflet, or of the peni, then you can see the sori. And finishing off with our last question for the day, we're asked to mention, in what ways are pteridophytes beneficial to human beings? So, in what ways are pteridophytes beneficial to human beings? In looking at a question like this, it's simple also. It just wants us to mention the advantages of division pteridophyta or division felicinophyta. So, we're asked to mention what are their advantages. So, you can answer it like this. Number one, they are used as ornaments. Many plants, such as fern plants, can be used as a decoration to decorate a person's home or even a workplace or an office, anywhere. Ferns can be used to decorate places, so they can be used as ornaments, decorations. That can be in the form of handbags made from ferns, or even potted fern plants. Any of them can be used as ornaments. They can be used as medicine. So, other types of fern plants or other types of members of the division pteridophyta can be used as medicine. So, either the stalk or the stipe can be used as medicine. The fronds, the rhizomes, they can all be used as medicine. They can be used as a source of food. Some types of fern plants or other members of division felicinophyta can be used as a source of food. For instance, some people eat the very small budding leaflet. The budding leaflet is known as a fiddlehead. So fiddleheads are a good source of food for people. They can be a source of starch. They are very nutritious, so many people use them as a source of food. They are used in making green dye. We all know that the dye is a color which is added to cloth in order to give it that color. So the green color dye comes from a plant which is a member of pteridophyta, or a member of the division felicinophyta. So they can be used as green dye, as the green color which you can see in clothes or in other substances which are applied with dyes. They can be used as fertilizer. For instance, members of phylum Pteridophyta or division Pteridophyta can be used as fertilizers which increase the amount of nutrients in the soil. For instance, the mosquito fern is known as a good fertilizer which increases the nutrients of the soil, in which many farmers use. Also, they can be used as a dry industrial lubricant. Members of division Pteridophyta, mostly the ferns, can be used as a dry industrial lubricant, as the spores are very dry, but they can help in lubrication. They produce no oil for lubrication, so they can be used as lubricants. I hope that you have understood our topic for today. Today we have been finishing up on our first topic in the Form 2 syllabus. Join us next time as we continue with other topics in the question and answer session for biology. You are with me, Munir Mustafa, and thank you very much.